my girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? Come on, tell me, baby. In the pond, where the sun don't ever shine. I was shivering you all night too. My girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. Where's that, baby? In the ponds, where the sun don't ever shine. I bet you will all night too. My girl, don't you lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? Come on and tell me something about it. In the ponds, where the sun don't ever shine. I bet you will all night too. Shiver for me now. What happened down there? My husband was a hard-working man, killed a mile and a half from here. What happened to him? His head was found in a driver wheel, and his body never been found. My girl, don't you lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? Come on and tell me something about it. In the ponds, where the sun don't ever shine. I bet you will all night too.
All right, in the chat, who can tell me who's first, at least on Twitch, excuse me, who covered this song and turned it into an English rock song? Because this song came straight out of America.
Love is going to break. If it keeps on raining, love is going to break. And the water gonna come and I have no place to stay. Well, all last night I sat on the lever and moaned. Well, all last night I sat on the lever and moaned, thinking about my baby.
We have a winner. BB. Be right back. Bok. Hopefully I did that a little bit of justice. Yes, Led Zeppelin. Original 1927, which was probably based off another 7. Famous 1927 Mississippi River flood. Kansas, Joe McCoy and the Memphis Mini. Maybe.
I ain't got nobody to care my trouble too. I works on the ladder, mama, both night and day. I works on the ladder, mama, both night and day. I ain't got nobody to keep the water away.
When the levee breaks, keep on raining. If it keeps on raining, the levee's going to break. Actually, it's kind of appropriate for this video here. It's not going to be on just for a few minutes. I posted a video short yesterday where I reviewed and I highlighted one very specific interview that was done on the channel I got to add a little bit of echo when I do this here. Can I do it? Blood. No. Hold on a second here. Blood money. Blood money. The channel Blood Money. All right. Or the, what else is it called here? It's also called America Happens Blood Money with Vem Miller. Vem Miller was arrested. He was acquitted. But he was arrested on around October, whatever it was, 10th, 11th, 12th of the year 2024 for showing up at a Trump rally, President Trump rally. Actually, he was running for president at the time in Coachella, which is that California, Nevada? It must be Nevada. He showed up. He had a VIP pass. At least he allegedly, anyways. The car that he drove there had what was described as an obviously fake license plate, whatever that is. I don't know if it was like it could have simply been a license plate with an old style, and maybe it was out of country, or maybe it was drawn on marker on cardboard. But it was obviously not, and that doesn't mean he was unregistered or the car wasn't registered, but there was something about the license plate. And appropriately, if a car shows up at a event where there's VIPs there, political, business leaders, whatever, if there is security, you look for things like that. You look for people that show up with a fake license plate. And the story is that his trunk had guns in it. Now, I mean, I'm having some fun. I say a trunk full of guns. It might have simply been a Glock and a shotgun or two. You could fit, I'm sure, a lot more guns into a trunk than that. But, trunk full of guns, it's a good name for a metal group. And I think it gets the point across, right? I don't know of people who have gun collections who forget where their gun collection is. I think most people who have guns understand the law, understand carry permits, understand what you can put in your car and what you can't, and they understand the implications of driving around with unregistered firearms, if that was the case. So he went to a rally almost with a fake license plate, screaming, "Please look at my car," and then he forgot that his guns were in there. So let's be honest, okay? This was done entirely to get arrested. Now, it's possible that the police department was also in on it. I think the man himself is probably a bit cowardly. I don't think he would. I'm not afraid. I don't think he would hurt anyone, but he wanted to get on record to be someone who was going to be accused of being a potential assassin of President Trump. He immediately had videos saying that he was the third alleged assassin, that it was his rights were violated. Now he went along and he sued the police department for millions of dollars. He went to do a video. But what happens is if you show up at a presidential rally with a trunk full of guns and an unregistered license plate or bad license plate, and you get arrested, even if you're released on bail, you are immediately put under surveillance, I presume, which wouldn't be out of the question, all right? But that is one way that you could put someone under surveillance. And it just so happened that the last interview that he did, or among the last, and I think he did it before the arrest, okay, was Dan Cohen. Which means, therefore, everyone in Dan Cohen's phone record, okay, is now also potentially someone that the FBI could surveil. Because someone could view this as Dan Cohen being in collusion with a Trump assassin. And it's not long, it was actually before this that Dan Cohen already reached out to Jonathan Cooey, meaning now Jonathan Cooey can be under full surveillance because this asshole guy intentionally got himself under FBI surveillance. which now means also because I've texted and did a video. I did a video with Dan Cohen that I'm not even sure was ever released. Do you understand the implications of that? That means now that I am potentially also under surveillance. Thank you very much. That is how this works. So that means, I don't know. The thing is I don't need to say that I'm a truth teller and that I don't lie, because all I do is relay information, and then I do analysis on it. And sometimes the analysis is wrong, but mostly it's right, because this is what I do. I was the top-ranked competitive intelligence analyst within the data storage division, within the largest provider of data storage in the world at the time. So, you know what? I'm pretty good at it, all right? I'm pretty damn good at it. My grandfather was the chief detective in the city of Bridgeport for many years. You know why? I think it kind of runs in the blood a little bit, okay? So I'm good at doing analysis. But I don't have to. I will never tell you that I'm telling you the truth or telling you a lie, because why? Everything I say is documented. So it's, to think, hey, I'm a truth teller. Like, what really? Why do you say that? Are you just because you're afraid people are going to realize you're just making shit up and have fantasy whistleblowers? Anyways, the point is that now I don't know if Dan Cohen, nor am I making a statement that Dan Cohen is part of this conspiracy. All right. I have no idea. He could be. I tell you what, though, his overall output was dramatically reduced after this incident. It is possible that Dan's life was turned upside down because he is now under surveillance. He might even be told, you know what, you now need to reach out and to comply with people because you are now connected with someone who, guess what? It was an alleged Trump assassin. And I'm sure that the case is still open so that people can still be put under surveillance, like myself. Now, I think that this was mostly done for Jonathan Cooey. That's speculation, right? I'm speculating. Again, I don't need to tell you that I'm a truth teller and that I'm not a liar, because I'm openly speculating. When I'm speculation, there's no truth or lying about it. It could be right or wrong, all right? But based upon the data, which you can find out yourself, I suspect that the point was to actually get Jonathan Cooey under surveillance. Now, what's interesting here, Coachella's California. Thank you for clarifying. I'm sorry I didn't know. What I knew is that there was a chief of police involved that had some connection with. Oh, you know what it is? It's the fact that Vem Miller himself of this channel, he is a Nevada resident. The chief of police was California, and that police officer, guess what, is running as had run as one of several Republican governor candidates for California. Again, I don't know if he's in it or not. Now, I don't think, right now, I would lean to Dan Cohen not knowing that his interview was going to air at this time. I'll tell you what, you're really throwing your career away if you volunteer to do something like that just for the hell of it, all right? Now, maybe he was already told that he had to do this interview and it was going to be released this way. That's a possibility, and maybe he didn't have a choice in it, or it looked as though this was the best thing to do for him. So this isn't really about Dan. It's not really about Vem Miller either. It's really highlighting that what other citizen journalists can you think of? In the Twitch chat, okay? Tell me what other citizen journalists, what other citizen researchers, citizen analysts there would be potential Trump assassination attempts for their benefit. Because this is wild. Think about this. The first Trump assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania in 2024 was 2 blocks away from where Jonathan Cooey lives. You could almost see the house from Jonathan Cooey's front porch. And then the second one was something down in Florida. I don't understand that one. Haven't looked into it too much. Now, the third one, I'm not saying Dan Cohen's involved in it. What I am saying, though, is that, you know, when an alleged assassin is doing a podcast and his very last interview is Dan Cohen, well, that means that Dan Cohen's contacts and Dan Cohen's phone records can now potentially be pulled in as part of the investigation. I think it's not out of the question to propose the possibility that the third Trump assassination, the first Trump assassination attempt, the location was chosen for the benefit of Jonathan Cooey, hoping that he would show up, and the third one was also done for Jonathan Cooey, and also turned out to be connected with me, because Dan Cohen hadn't contacted me yet. His first contact with me was in early 2025. Now, it's also pretty wild is other people that were contacted, I think were interviewed, include Brian Artis. And Brian Artis was on the stage at some Red Pill event just before Jonathan Cooey got on the stage and delivered a great performance, which I believe he would actually want to redo because his message has evolved and crystallized so much since then. But Dan Cohen, his message hasn't really evolved at all. It's still Zionism, sort of Gaza genocide, something or other. And if he's in a state, though, where he's under surveillance, known surveillance right now, all right, it may not be possible for Dan Cohen to have a message that evolves, all right? I'm trying to stay as positive and in the court to support Dan Cohen as possible. Of course, right now, he's contacted me a few times. I haven't responded. And now it's clear that any communication I have with him definitely, as a matter of fact, a lot of my communications are probably under FBI surveillance. But can you tell me any other citizen journalist that is connected, and I don't mean in like doing it, but is so one or two tangents removed from these assassination attempts? Because I think Jonathan Cooey is 2 out of 3. While everyone else is running around saying, truth, truth, truth. I'm the truth. Give me money. There are potential assassination attempts involved. Now, I'm not saying that people were or were not really killed. And I definitely don't see anything to suggest that this Vem Miller is a potential assassin. All right. Or that thing was going to be real at all. But nonetheless, it is known as a potential, stalled, a potentially avoided assassination attempt, even if he's cleared of all the charges and even if it's a giant misunderstanding. That will always be the case, and I think that was always the plan. I don't believe Vem Miller got into the business of podcasting so that he could have a failed assassination attempt or be cleared of a potential assassination attempt. That's something that's probably evolved. And the other part of this amazing story with Vem Miller, okay, and the third assassination attempt is his current wife or ex-wife is the author of the book that's now being pushed as the new combination 9/11 and COVID-19 truth. Sonia Elijah, her book, of all the books in the world, okay, her book right now is being pushed as the ultimate truth. It's been relied by the Brownstone or the Clownstone Institute. It's been promoted on the Redacted Show. The Redacted Show, by the way, that did a great big push for Sonia Elijah's book, is also the very same program that supports Dan Cohen. So Dan Cohen, Redacted, 311 Viral Takeover. 311 Viral Takeover, Sonia Elijah, first interviews were, guess what? South African Nick Hudson and Robert Malone. South African Nick Hudson, South African, what's her name? Laura Logan, and others are among the interview collection of Vem Miller. Robert Malone, of course, also supports this mess. Robert Malone is the person that was involved in the, I don't have it up right now, unfortunately, involved in the authoring of, I wish I had it up on the screen right now, but I don't, the authoring of the Wuhan cover-up book. The Wuhan cover-up book also came out of CHD and included assistant or number 2 science officer at CHD, Jonathan Cooey. Jonathan Cooey put things in there about Sina Bavari, truthful things. Or it's not that it's truth or false. It is what it is. He just relayed something, okay, that is a fact. Sina Bavari is someone who worked with Robert Malone. So you can see how the push for the viral takeover book, with the same cover, almost the same font, same design, is almost being done intentionally to wipe out and mask out the Wuhan cover-up book, which includes explosive things by Jonathan Cooey. Jonathan Cooey, who is already being interviewed and promoted by Dan Cohen. As a matter of fact, a clip of Jonathan Cooey from the very same Red Pill event, the Red Pill event that included just before him Brian Ardis, okay? These are people that were all on the Vem Miller show. Can you see this? Can you please tell me you can see this? So, while everyone else is running around saying, you have to be afraid of weather mods today, you need to be afraid of plastics in your water today, you need to be afraid of, I don't know, what's a new thing of the day? Robots, AI, radio towers. You need to be afraid of the Jews. You need to be afraid of the Russians, the Chinese, the Tibetans, the monks, the Muslims, the Christians, the infiltrators, the atheists, the communists, the nationalists, the this, to that. Well, everyone else is running around making no progress at all. And Jay in particular, Jonathan Cooey, PhD, are the people who apparently there's failed assassination attempts for the benefit of to get us under surveillance. Doesn't happen with anyone else. Only us. And you somehow, my small audience, magnificent audience, albeit, okay, are among the elites that presumably you spent a lot of time watching a lot of hours of a lot of crap to find this place. I wish there were 20 more channels like mine and John. I really do. But here you are. It is what it is, okay? Someday there will be, by the way. But it's not yet. Just not today. It's going to happen. Here you are. You found the end of the river, okay? You see Colonel Kurtz, or Colonel Kulak in this case, going crazy in a steam bath, sweating it out with the heads all over the place. This is the end of the river. This is where it ends. Matter of fact, and it's strange that I refer to that because my show is named after a river. That's pretty crazy. But that's just a coincidence. Vilma says, DARPA locked me out of my computer when I questioned them about Robert Malone's AI project domain. Fantastic. The domain project is key. Robert Malone, it's almost Robert Malone's pandemic. Lest we forget, it was Laura Logan who first interviewed Sasha. No, are you kidding me? Entropy, awesome one. Thank you. I'm just relaying this again. I'm not lying or telling the truth. I'm just relaying this one, okay? It sounds like something that would be the truth, though. Laura Logan was the first person who interviewed Sasha Latypova. That's fantastic. So I told you it was going to be a short show. It's a quick show. I have the house to myself for another hour or two. I have some very noisy things to make. I mean, this is the look. I got pajama bottoms right now and a sweaty T-shirt on. I'm running a hand planer on the wall. This is the real deal. I'm posting a few updates, once a day or once every other day on the construction here. It is what it is. If I went a month and didn't log on to my computer, all of this stuff is still up here and it's still on the archive. All right, it's still out there. And as I've said before, hopefully it's starting to sink in right now. I don't have a Substack. I have an archive with articles, references to PDFs that have been provided and manufactured or written by other news agencies, government agencies, and so on. Some of the pages are very messy. Some are very clean and organized, okay? Usually this is an organized listing of evidence. I just call it evidence timeline. All right? It doesn't mean everything in there is true, but it is true that it was printed. It did happen, and it happened on the dates that the paper pages were dated, okay? You can extract from that whatever you want, but I'm not writing a blog post, or a Substack promoting truths and lies and saying, I know whistleblowers. The worst evidence I have ever received in my life came from whistleblowers. I'm sure that there are real whistleblowers, but everything whistleblowers have given me is garbage. Everything. It can never be cited. I have no idea if it's real or not. It's not, a whistleblower in the New York Times, again, doesn't make it real or not real, but at least it could stand up and if I were need to speak in front of the Senate or a Senate hearing or something like that. All right? I just, but that's how the garbage gets into the system. And that's why, again, just like Vem Miller, you'll see he has tons of videos about whistleblowers. And I will again play the video that I showed yesterday. Consider everything I just said about Jonathan Cooey, about the timeline of Jonathan Cooey, Jonathan Cooey at this Red Pill event, Jonathan Cooey's video being promoted on Redacted promoting the viral takeover book. Just think about all of that, okay? Now, with that in mind, let's watch this. I'm just going to watch this one video. Hopefully I can find it. Oh yeah, and who else was on here? Just in case I didn't have this one already. Courtney Turner. Courtney Turner also is on there. Remember, Courtney Turner does the ropes just like Tony Bark. Courtney Turner has her Hollywood card. She's a Hollywood actress that never quite made it. Bang. It is what it is, okay? No, she makes no progress on anything. Also, I've heard Patriot Barbie before, but Patriot Barbie also does videos. A lot of people have done videos with this Vem Miller. A lot of people have. But I've seen some Patriot Barbie tweets recently, so I'm just throwing this up there for those of you who are like, oh, yeah, Patriot Barbie, she said this or that recently. So I'm just border greatest invasion in history. Okay. So let me see if I can find it. And I'm going to have to play it on a different computer. Hopefully it copies over. Control-C. Am I going to be able to get it over here? I hope so. Please. Yep. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. So this is Blood Money. This is a Vem Miller. Blood Money. Blood Money. Blood. Where is it? Blood Money. Vem Miller talking to a whistleblower. Okay, about MI5 targeting parents who protest family law corruption. Now, this could be a coincidence. Could just be a coincidence. But consider the timeline. Consider the implications of Jonathan Cooey, PhD, Giga Bio. Consider the Wuhan cover-up. Consider Robert Malone. Consider the book 311 Viral Takeover being pushed. Consider all of this, okay? And with all that in mind, okay, I'm just going to play the first 20, 30 seconds of this, okay? You ready? All right, let's go. Let's go. And this was made, I think, about 2 years ago. So this was made before the assassination attempt, all right? Let's hear this.
And he had made the mortal mistake of revealing to social service. I met JJ just as he was about to have his 3 children taken away from him permanently to be forcefully adopted against their will. JJ told me that he was a victim of domestic violence, and he had made the mortal mistake of revealing to social services and his doctors that he was suffering from depression and PTSD as a result of this abuse. Rather than helping him, social services set their
Play it again.
I met JJ just as he was about to have his 3 children taken away from him permanently to be forcefully adopted against their will. JJ told me that he was a victim of domestic violence, and he had made the mortal mistake of revealing to social services and his doctors that he was suffering from depression and PTSD as a result of this abuse. Rather than helping him, social services set their sights on his 3 children, and before JJ knew it, his children were taken from him.
Now, this is obviously not Jonathan Cooey. Jonathan Cooey has much darker skin complexion. But Jonathan Cooey has 3 gorgeous kids. And a family that most people would give anything to have. All right. Jonathan Cooey, I think it's more appropriate to call him Jonathan Cooey or JC. Or Cooey, PhD. Dr. Cooey is a little misleading because he's not a medical doctor. He's someone who has a PhD. He has his doctorate. But it is odd. And what has happened is many people call Jonathan Cooey JJ. Which, I mean, I guess if you know him well, right? And he said, hey, you could just call me JJ. Then you call him JJ, right? But if you don't know somebody well, and somebody has a doctorate or a PhD, you just don't use 2 initials and then say, "Hey, CC, hey, hey, LK, hey, MH." You just don't do that. It's weird. And time again, people have called Jonathan Cooey JJ. He didn't even say his initials. His initials were actually JC, which is Jesus Christ, I know. But but I would never call my doctor out. I haven't seen him for so long. I forget his name. So it makes up something. DF. Why would you do that? And time again, people who should not have known each other, but interviews show that they do know each other, would constantly call Jonathan Cooey JJ in emails. They would also do things like they would have Jessica Hockett would do something like this. Jessica Hockett would have an interview, and she'd be like, the esteemed Dr. Jonathan Engler, PhD, world's most victimized man, the hardest working, most brilliant man, the most ethical man that the world has ever seen. And then there's JJ. JJ? Hey, JJ, can you hold on for a minute while I talk to the radically esteemed, highly educated, most magnificent example of a person that ever walked the face of the earth, Dr. Jonathan J. Engler, PhD extraordinaire. And JJ? And that's what Jessica Hockett would do. That's absurd. And here's a video by this Vem Miller, who's like who's like freaking paranoid about Chinese planting babies under sheds and growing up and taking over the government in the future. But if anyone calls out the fact that, hey, Armenia is friendly with India, he's like, oh, don't say anything. Don't call my Armenian heritage. Oh, so I can't handle it. Anyways, this is a threat. This is a threat against Jonathan Cooey. After he shows up at a Trump rally with a trunk full of guns and a bad license plate and gets arrested, and then immediately airs a Dan Cohen interview which immediately allows everything about Cooey probably also to be put under surveillance. And then ultimately, because Dan Cohen then reaches out to me not long after this, now I'm probably under surveillance. Even though I'm the most American person you're going to find. I am an incredible example of an American because there's, one of the reasons why is because there's no one else like me. There's no one else like Jonathan Cooey. We're like the island in the Christmas store in the Christmas claymation, of misfit toys. This is kind of what America's about. It's elves that want to be dentists. That I don't know had flings with Lebanese people or something. To create other even further weird perplexity of individuals. Not necessarily better, but it's our thing, and it's a wonderful place to live if this is what you are and what you want to be part of. It's a fantastic place. Why should I be under FBI? I'm the one person that's trying to represent America appropriately. And with all of the crazy misunderstood things happening, I'm the one encouraging people to be optimistic in spite of it all. Anyways, it's my quick rant for the day. Thank you guys. I love you very much. I'll probably do another show later, but I need to use my time wisely right now. Thank you. Take care. God bless. And I will see you again later.